Right, Tanvi standing by. Tanvi, very interesting move in the finance bill to sort of retrospectively forgive political funding.
Yes, Faye. So while we talk about the impact on the Aam Aadmi, the higher burden that comes year on year on the Aam Aadmi, it looks like political parties are getting the benefit where even their past sins are being washed away by a simple change in law. Good evening, voters. Tonight we are going to focus on political funding, foreign funds in political funding. And why I bring up this topic is because of a very interesting change that the finance minister seeks to bring in to the law of the FCRA that may change the fortunes of BJP and Congress party. In 2016, the government of our country opened up the doors for political funding, for foreign funding in political parties. They did that by bringing about a change in the 2010 Act. What has happened today is that they have made another change to it that is effective 1976. Why have they done that? Well, experts say because in 2009, foreign funding came into BJP and the Congress party that was against the law at that point of time. The Delhi High Court in 2014 found them guilty of breaking that law and asked the government and asked the Election Commission to take action. While that still hasn't happened, if you change the law effective 1976, experts say it gets BJP and Congress off the hook. So you and I pay income tax, political parties do not pay any tax. You and I must disclose all our transactions to the government. Through the Aadhaar that we've linked, data allegedly is being leaked and everybody now has our data. But there is no such rule for the political parties. Even under the electoral bonds, the world will not know where our political parties are getting our money from. The NGOs are facing a crackdown because they're getting foreign funding. But the political parties are getting off the hook. That is the allegation that we are going to present to our panelists. There's a quick look at what one of the activists told us. ADR has actually taken this case to court. They are the ones who've been fighting for it, and this is what they told us.
25 odd donations which we had seen, which we had put in the application. And they are ranging from a few lakhs to a few crores. There are 25 such donations pre-2009 which BJP and Congress had got. But if there are any other such things, we are frankly not aware as of now. Since no action has been taken by the Home Ministry, so we filed a contempt petition. Now that contempt petition was still going on in the court. The last hearing was in October last year. And in that hearing, the lawyers of Congress and BJP, they sought more time. Now probably that 6 months time which they sought was to bring in this amendment which they have now done in the finance bill of 2018. So now what they have done is that this amendment which they had done for the 2010 FCRA will be applicable to the 1976 FCRA Act, with retrospective effect of so many years. So that is the whole plan. Like I mentioned, the court case is already going on. So now we will give them this fact that how can a thing be amended again with retrospective effect. After all, the violation has been done, so that should be looked into by the court.
I have three simple questions for our panelists this evening. Question number one, are the laws different for the common man and the netas in our country? At each step, why is it that they are getting exemptions? That their salaries are going to be linked to inflation, that they are going to get appraisals, that they are not, their parties are not supposed to pay tax, but you have to. Question number two, the FCRA Act is proposed to be amended. Is this going to get BJP and Congress off the hook for the money that they got in 2009 when it wasn't allowed from foreign companies and they have been found guilty of it? Will this change in law today get them off the hook? And question number 3, are electoral bonds really going to bring about a transparency and reform, or are they only going to strengthen the corporate political nexus, where you and I will not know who's donating money to which party, and that nexus continues? Let's say good evening to our guests. I've got Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson for the Samajwadi Party, and Supreme Court lawyer Ashish Dikshit joining us this evening. Ghanshyam, I want to begin with a larger construct here, which is this difference we see every time. Last year, around this time, 2 years ago as well, we were campaigning to bring about transparency in political funding, saying at least disclose where you're getting your money from. Some amount of changes have come there, but parties still don't pay income tax. Now we are seeing again changes in law being made. Are laws supposed to be different for the common man, for the NGOs, but different for political parties and netas?
Well, I'm a spokesperson of a leading political party, but I want to speak in citizens' voice because the headline should be conspiracy. The headline of the budget should be conspiracy. With respect to what the government has done to FCRA in 2016 and now in 2018, somehow surreptitiously sneaking it in. None of the major newspapers, I have Times of India with me, I have Economic Times with me, none of the major newspapers have captured it. What it basically means is, on one end, the finance minister speaks with high moral standing that let us bring transparency in electoral funding. On the other end, he creates a very opaque electoral bonds. Second, he knows more than anybody else that last year 89% of corporate donations went to BJP. Third, they amend the law that allows foreign companies in the name of being Indian companies under a new definition to invest in political parties. I will not say donate, invest in political parties. And fourth, they let off all the criminal activities from the past 40 years, slowly and slowly, even in the wake of a Delhi High Court indictment. So this headline should be conspiracy, and I want every citizen to know that this budget has conspired against your rights as a voter. It has given a room for somebody who in future wants to be the next East India Company with imperial designs in India.
Ashish Dikshit, your opening comments and the question that I also asked, do respond to that as well. Our law is supposed to be different for our netas and the common man. So many exemptions, so much of anonymity on one side, and the other side, complete disclosure, full disclosure for the common man.
See, these are two different issues. When we talk about transparency and bringing in the foreign firms to be able to pay money to the political parties, these are two different issues. Let me first deal with this thing. See, under the scheme of our constitution, the legislation is entitled to make any law if they deem it fit and appropriate. If I as a citizen or the other panelist has an issue with that law, we have courts of law to challenge it and it can be quashed. Now coming to the transparency, I believe this present government is acting towards bringing some kind of transparency into the contributions which has been done for the political parties. So I am sure gradually the process will move. And as far as this present law is concerned, it is still not clear whether it is directly to overturn the Delhi High Court judgment, because till date that judgment has not been implemented. If there was some violation of law, some election commission should have taken a stand and should have punished the political parties, because they withdrew the appeal in the Supreme Court last year itself. So if there was something, I believe election commission ought to have taken action under the law.
Okay, so explain to me, Ashish, as we go on to the second question, which is to ask if whether this amendment really benefits BJP in Congress in reference to that case and several other. By the way, I have a list here which has been put out by the ADR. It's their report. They're very active when it comes to political funding and political party transparency issues. This actually gives me a list of donations, and I've removed the names of the companies, but these are donations that have been made year after year to Congress and the BJP right from 2004 and 5 all the way to 2009 and 10. This is at a time, and these are allegedly foreign donations that have come at a time when foreign donations weren't allowed in our country. So tell me, what do you make of this? You're a lawyer. Explain to our viewers then, when the amendment that has been made to the Finance Bill 2018 or proposed right now is that Clause 217 of the bill seeks to amend Section 236 of the Finance Act that relates to amendment to subsection 1 of Section 2 of the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, which is the FCRA 2010. The provision to the said subclause inserted under the Finance Act 2016 states that notwithstanding the nominal value of share capital of a company exceeding 0.5% at the time of making contribution, such companies shall not be deemed a foreign source. This is the new proposal. In 1976, when the FCRA law was created, Ashish, the foreign source was defined as a company which has 51% stake owned by a foreign company. Wherever it was based, it didn't matter. This proposal also says it is proposed to bring the said amendment with effect from 5th August 1976. In 2018, we are talking about a change that will be brought to a law made in 1976, which by the way was repealed in 2008. It's a dead law. What do you make of it? Why should this be done?
See, if I speak legally, most of the laws are supposed to have effect prospectively. Normally, laws should not be made with a retrospective effect, especially these kind of law. Yeah. We have to see under what circumstances, what is the reason given by the government in the finance bill for making this act retrospectively, and that too from the year 1976. And as a lawyer, I can tell you, if the people are able to demonstrate to the court that this amendment has been done to overturn the judgment of the Honorable Delhi High Court, this amendment itself is likely to get quashed. It will not stand the legal scrutiny in the court of law.
But forget the 2009 High Court, 2014 High Court order, Ashish Dixit. Tell me this. If a change in law has been made retrospectively, which is to say 1976 Act, we have made this change. In 2009, effectively, a political party would be able to get funding from abroad or even an Indian company which has 51% foreign ownership. Am I correct in that?
Now they would be, because previously, before the Delhi High Court judgment clearly says till 2009 they were not supposed to get, and that's why Delhi High Court directed
comes under the Home Ministry, and this bill should not be a finance bill. So somebody has a design to conspire against the average voter to make sure that certain political parties have unending amount of infinite amount of funding to run the country the way they want, and eventually the way they would run is they will tell the courts that privacy is not important, it's an elite right. They will tell you as a citizen you need Aadhaar, but as a political party, as the dominant party, they need no transparency. So somebody has to answer, and because Parliament is not asking these questions today and these bills are surreptitiously brought as finance bill, they are escaping the common man's eye, and media, except, I commend you, except Mirror Now, no media has taken this up. This is a courageous step by your channel to take it up.
But why isn't your party asking this question, Ghanshyam Tiwari? Why aren't you raising it? Why aren't you
Exactly,
and the
that's
likes
why
of your
I wanted
political
to ask.
parties raise?
Honestly, I learnt about it based on readings on today. We will take it up.
Because it seems like it's a convenient silence for all political parties. Because in one way or the other, nobody wants transparency in political funding. It's good to sit and say it, but who's doing it? I mean, we've not seen any
Yes.
kind of activism from any of the regional or national parties, Ghanshyam.
Well, I believe that every time India wakes up for a movement, India against corruption, for example, the nation moves forward and it tells the government of the day that make laws that support the common spirit of that movement. The common spirit of that movement was Lokpal, not implemented even when the Supreme Court reprimanded this government. Second, the common spirit of that government is we want transparency. Aam Aadmi Party did come up. It was asked tough questions, but I still think that they have maintained a certain standard of transparency that many political parties like us will like to imitate. But let us not have laws that give such a big room to political parties to not worry about anything.
Well, this is what the High Court order says. I'm going to go back to this issue because this is what the High Court order of 2014 said. It asked the government and the Election Commission to act against the Congress and the BJP for accepting donations from Vedanta subsidiaries. The case is specific to this company because this is the High Court order. I'm reading it out. The court asked the Union Home Ministry to relook and reappraise the receipts of political parties and identify the foreign contributions received by the foreign sources. It also went on to clarify, Ashish Dixit, that since the writ petition drew attention to donations that were made in 2009, it does not concern any changes that were made to 2010. So in 2016, the government came about and made changes to
Yes,
2010.
you're entirely correct.
2 years later, they have gone back to 1976. They realized, did they realize that 2010 changes to the 2010 Act is not going to help them because there is a track record of foreign donations coming into political parties from before that. So let's go all the way back to 1976 and change it.
Yes. Yes, that's what. See, if you see the High Court judgment very clearly says that before 2010, accepting a foreign donation was an offense, so the 2000 Act amendment won't be an issue. And it directed that you take action against these two parties for accepting foreign donation. Now, in order to, in order to override that High Court direction, if this amendment is brought into force, I am of the view, I might not be correct. I might not be correct because it is eventually the court has to decide. But if this is the intention of this amendment, it will not stand the test of law. And second thing, I just wanted to, because Mr. Tiwari is talking about transparency and right to information, has his party, the Samajwadi Party, ever volunteered to come under RTI? Have they given a statement? You don't even need, you apply this to yourself. Has Samajwadi Party opened its doors to transparency? Unfortunately, they have not. So every political party is of the same, same standard, and it's, it's easy to throw mud at others and without looking into themselves. They should also open up. They should also take these issues to public and do something about it. Eventually, we all want transparency, but no one wants to act towards it.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, you want to respond to that?
Yes, it is a fair criticism. The fact that I am sticking my neck out is also making me open to such criticism, and I welcome this criticism. But the tough question should be asked to the government of the day. They have opaquely brought this procedure into the realm of parliament without opening itself to a discussion even in Rajya Sabha.
But I want to also ask our viewers tonight. I'm getting a lot of comments on Invol and Twitter as well, where they're asking that if there is a bonding that cements all political parties, Leonard says it is corruption. Now this is where the viewer is very clear and you cannot take them for a ride. They are actually going on to then ask, the legislation will bring a lot of relief and convenience for all political parties. So the people are beginning to understand this. Ashish Dikshit, tell me this, if the Home Ministry was told to act, why did they not from 2014 till now, if you say that the laws, the amendments were not made to benefit BJP?
No, I believe it was not the Home Ministry, it was the Election Commission of India.
No,
The
both of
Election
them.
Commission of India should have taken action in accordance with law against these two politicians. Both of them. See, we can expect Home Ministry not to do something because they are directly reporting to the government or they are the part of the government. We expect something to be done by the Election Commission, which is an independent body. And as far as the other issue, I'm very, I want to commend Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari because he's taking a very positive stand. He's supporting the transparency. I'll give him a very small example that the Right to Information Act, which came in 2005, and before that it was the Freedom of Information Act 2000. We had a minister in the central government in the Vajpayee's government.
Before you move on, I want to point out, I asked you that question for a reason. I'll tell you why. When the 2014 order came out that asked both the government and the Election Commission to take action, appeal was filed against that order. You're well aware of it, Ashish Dikshit, that order was challenged. It was in the court till end of 2016, which is when it got withdrawn. After that, one would assume that action will be taken. So the activists waited. So the organization ADR waited for action to be taken. It wasn't taken. They have now gone to court and filed a contempt petition in the top court saying that the action has not been taken despite this order being in the clear, because the 2016 changes do not affect this. So why aren't you acting against Congress and the BJP? The respondent parties, Ashish Dikshit, said we need more time. So should one not ask this question, Ghanshyam Tiwari? They told the court we need more time for what? To bring in this amendment and get off the hook?
Absolutely, that was the design.
Yes.
And that brings into the question that not only is Parliament weakened in the current regime, even the Election Commission is weakened in the current regime. Do you expect Delhi High Court to fight with two key institutions of our constitution that the constitution has enabled? One is the Parliament and the other is the executive and the autonomous constitutional body, the Election Commission. So somewhere there is a design, there's a nefarious design to weaken the order of our democracy. You want complete transparency from the citizen. You want his Aadhaar card, you want his transactions, you want it linked from his child's admission to his bank account, to everything that the person does. But as a government of the day, as a dominant party of the day, you want to build complete opacity for your own institution. This demonstrates a nefarious design that the governments must answer.
Okay, I've got a caller on the phone and I'm going to go across to Dr. Dave. He's calling in from Jodhpur, I believe. Good evening, Dr. Dave. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Just listen me, please. You see, we are discussing upon political funding. That's okay?
Yes.
So, I want to say that, ma'am, why there is need of political funding from external sources in our country?
Yes.
When lot of subsidies are given to political parties and politicians themselves, and the common citizen are taxed heavily, increasing year by year, then why there is need of these parties to take funds from the external sources? They should manage the expenditure by themselves, contributing by themselves.
Okay, great point.
You see how it impacts in the future. If some domestic sources, domestic people or domestic parties or domestic institutions or foreign institution funds the political parties, definitely they will expect to take advantage in the future from that party when they are in the government. Okay? So this is an indirect encouragement to develop the corruption.
Yes, and Dr. Dave, not just that, they're not just taking funding from the domestic trusts or organizations or corporates anymore. They have opened up the doors to political funding. Now, let me tell my viewers this. You know, in 1976, when the FCRA law was brought in and this rule was brought in, that foreign funds cannot be allowed in political funding, Ghanshyam Tiwari, the concept was that you cannot have international organizations or even governments or corporates trying to have an influence on the way our country is run and our governments run our country. Political activism was the biggest fear, which is why this rule was brought in. Even today, Ashish Dikshit, there is a crackdown that is happening on the NGOs in our country for the very same reason. Our government keeps a very close eye on the foreign donations that come in to ensure that the funds are not misused to derail governance, to derail, to become a political activism in such a sense that it becomes a hurdle in governance. Is that correct or not? So why should political parties now get foreign funds is the question.
That is precisely the question. See, on one end, you have kept a scanner on the civil society and NGOs that received foreign funding. Thousands of NGOs, the licenses have been cancelled subsequently. So on one end, you want to stymie the voice of the civil society, and on the other hand, you want to build a very opaque political system that only benefits you. 89% of donations last year went to one political party.
Yes. Well, this is the report. I am going to quote.
I am saying that you can.
Yes, in fact, BJP got 77% of the donations even from electoral trusts in the last 4 years.
Let us not miss the big gorilla in the room.
Ashish Dikshit, you want to respond to that? You also want to respond to what Ghanshyam is saying and what even I have asked? Again, are the rules different for political parties and everybody else in our country?
See, you know, unfortunately, for every political party, irrespective of Congress, BJP, Samajwadi, whatever, the citizen is the last priority. All they want to do is to, you know, help themselves, protect themselves, let them grow. And it's a coterie.
But you're saying BJP wants to bring in some transparency.
I don't believe that there is some kind of opposition.
But you're saying BJP wants to bring in transparency. You're saying BJP wants to bring in the reforms. I'm asking you, where is the transparency in the reforms then? Do you agree with this step?
No, see, legally speaking, I am not in support of this kind of amendment because you cannot condone an offences which have happened for last 40 years. Someone has violated law. Tomorrow you will come up and bring up an amendment saying that, oh, I'm sorry, it was not, you know, there is no law, there is no offence committed. We are bringing an amendment. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, that cannot be done. This is very unfortunate for the democratic setup of this country. Tomorrow, if anything is against a political party, they will simply have majority and they want to do whatever they want. We cannot have this kind of you know, it is a democratic setup at the end of the day. We should respect rule of law.
Oh, okay, I'm going to move on to very quickly to our third question, which is about electoral bonds. It's the other big debate. Ghanshyam Tiwari, where does the Samajwadi Party and where do you stand on electoral bonds? Today we've seen another political party has gone to court. Now ADR, by the way, who's been also fighting the political funding, foreign funding case, has also gone to court on it. Electoral bonds, do they really bring in transparency, or is it another way of corporates to bring in money?
See, in a lighter note, I will say on one end, the government wants to ban crypto coins. And on the other end, they create cryptic policies. Electoral bonds, opaque electoral bonds are a disservice to the idea that the finance minister spoke in during his budget speech last year. So we do not support a dishonest idea. This idea will only benefit BJP and then would be later used, and Rajasthan has shown that BJP cannot imagine itself being in government continuously. It may not even be in power in next year. So they are bringing in ideas that will help subsequent governments become undemocratic, just like BJP is becoming undemocratic. We have the Prime Minister that swooned the entire country with a message, na khaunga, na khane dunga. But there is a contradiction in his policy approach.
Ashish Dikshit, where do you stand on electoral bonds?
Electoral bonds, as it stands, is a dishonest idea brought in by NDA.
We don't know who is going to donate to the BJP, to the Congress party, to the Samajwadi party, to the TMC. The government may know. The voter will never know where the money is coming from. Ashish?
No, I beg to differ there because, see, bonds are going to be accepted in banks and the party's verified account can encash that payment. So I doubt whether, if someone is donating directly in the bank, the bank, it can be easily accessed. I have my doubts whether it will end transparency or not.
You're a legal expert, please tell me this. You're a legal expert, please tell me this. Can I go as a common man to the bank and tell me in this account of the Congress party, where have these funds come from? Can I go and ask that? Will I know which corporate has invested before 2019? Where is Congress getting its money?
So we are, see, that's why, that's why we are missing the point. The point is the political parties should be under the RTI. We will be able to get every information. For that, every single party has, every political party has the same stand. Please don't apply RTI to us. So it's about, if you were talking about transparency, it should start from within. But
why should we go through the whole process of RTI? Why did the government have to, why did the finance minister have to come out and give the assurance that, hey, you come and donate, we will keep your identity secret. We are going to keep your identity anonymous.
Is that to me?
Yes, it is. You are saying if you bring political parties under RTI, we can access this information. I am saying as a voter, I demand to know, where is my political party, my Neta getting his money from? What if tomorrow he turns around and starts giving favors to that company? I must know before I vote for that Neta. So I am asking you, why should that data not be available to me?
It should be, that's what I'm supporting you on this. It should be available. The parties should themselves make everything open to public scrutiny. It's easy to, like, if Mr. Tiwari is talking about transparency, I expect tomorrow his party to give a statement that yes, our accounts are open to inspection by any citizen. Let us make a beginning. Samajwadi Party is one of the biggest parties in this country. Let them come forward and take a stand that yes, my accounts, my everything is open to public scrutiny. You don't need a law for this. That's why I was giving you example of Mr. Jethwani. When he was the Minister of Urban Development, he, without having any Right to Information or Freedom to Information Act, he said my every office file in the Urban Development Ministry is open to public scrutiny. He was not waiting that let first Parliament pass an Act of Right to Information Act. If you want to do something, you do it. Tomorrow you open up your accounts and say everyone is entitled to, verify or scrutinize whatever they want to do. If one political party will do it, I'm sure someone will follow.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, the onus is on you, it seems, not the government. Why don't the other political parties stand up and take the stand then? I know you will again say I'm sticking my neck out and we should. But Akhilesh is a young leader. Why don't you go up to him and tell him to start this? Maybe it will help him come back to power next time if he actually leads this change.
Let me tell you that this is a world of competitive politics. The bigger principle that should be applied for our nation is that political parties need not have a long leash when citizens don't have any. You look at the situation that the government, again, I'm coming back to the same example. See, Dow Chemicals, for example, the company that now owns Union Carbide, that company donated to political parties, the leading political parties. And tomorrow it can do it again. And the reason, because we have opaque system. If you create an opaque system, you would not see political parties coming forward and then creating a setup where they may lose the game of competitive politics. We as citizens, beyond the political voices, have to ensure that no government can go ahead and do such kind of major changes without discussion in the parliament, because when it is discussed in the parliament, every media agency will cover, the citizens' voice will create a pressure that the government will not say one thing and do another.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we reached out to multiple BJP spokespersons tonight, but no one was willing to come out on this debate. We are hopefully we are waiting and hoping that the government comes out with a clarification. Maybe the experts, maybe ADR has read it wrong, maybe we are analyzing this wrong. The government can come out and give us an explanation on this amendment any single day. But the point here is this, viewers. As things stand today, it looks like until it is challenged in the court and the court takes it up again, the parties are going to get away with the fact that for 10 years, at least the data that is available for, they were getting foreign funds year after year when the law did not allow them to. When they got caught, when they were told that there will be punishment for this, they went about and changed the law. Not just from here on, they changed the law from 30 years ago, 32 years ago. Is that fair? In a budget where we have seen announcements like the long-term capital gains tax being made, that is only going to add a little bit more burden to the savings of the common man. In a budget where we've not seen any fuel price hike relief coming. In a budget where the common man has been told you might as well pay 1% cess more. In a budget where the finance minister came out and said that now there is a premium on honesty that the country is putting on. It is the honest taxpayer who's having to pay that premium as tax. We must ask tonight, why should any political party that has broken the law get off the hook? Why should any political party get funds from a corporate and not have to disclose it to you, the voter? Would you not want to know which company is funding your Neta? Because tomorrow when that Neta gets selected, he may have obligations towards that corporate. Would you not want to know that? So before 2019, let's raise this issue and really find out just how transparent and just how accountable are these political parties, especially the big two, who may be off the hook because of this amendment. We hope the government comes out with a clarification. Ghanshyam Tiwari, thank you for joining us. Ashish Dikshit, thank you for coming in and explaining to us the legalities. I appreciate the fact that you said that if a retrospective change is being made to a law which is, by the way, dead now, it will not hold any good. So one wonders then what this change is about. Thank you so much. We will keep a very close track on this story and we will continue to bring it to you. Thank you.